guys! Welcome back to the Fergie Time podcast. Today we will be discussing some questions we got on Twitter from you lot. All right, let's move on to our final topic. What Premier League team do you see as being a dark horse or will overperform this season? Because they can either be a dark horse for the title race or they're just a team that many people see as mid-table, but you think may take it up a notch this season.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, I'd like to start out with maybe a team that people are underestimating in the title race, and I would say Tottenham. As much as it pains me to say that, you got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Tottenham have a great side with the addition of Ndombele. Their midfield is looking really solid. If Eriksen leaves and goes to Madrid or another club.
But they still have him even until the winter, so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think people are just underestimating Spurs. People are just looking at, City and Liverpool and seeing if they, how they're going to get on, and it's just going to be that same back and forth race. Like, oh, we beat some team 4-0 and we're going to beat them 5-0. Like we've already seen in the first match day, which is just hilarious. So, yeah, I mean, Tottenham, they held their own last season and they were really close and they slowly fell off. So I think for them it's just can they maintain that same energy and I want to say putting pressure on the front two.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say.
I really feel like Tottenham is a team for me that people. I mean, if you guys have seen my Premier League predictions, go check that out. But Tottenham is a team for me that really got left out of the title race by a lot of people. People said this is a two-team race, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. Spurs went out and signed Ndombele, who is a fantastic box-to-box midfielder.
Quality. He's
someone who scored in, I think, multiple of Tottenham's preseason games. He scored in their first Premier League game. Mm-hmm. He's a player who affects the game on both ends of the pitch.
Yeah. Definitely.
While he's scoring goals up top, he's also dropping in and defending right in front of their back line. So I think that's like a fantastic addition that's often underrated. I don't know if many of you knew this, but when Real Madrid fans were asked which midfielder they wanted their club to sign this summer, most of those fans, or like a majority of the fans, said they would rather have Ndombele than Pogba. So I feel like Ndombele is really an underrated player by many people and will vastly improve Spurs. They also went out and signed Sessegnon and Lo Celso, who will be a solid addition off the bench.
Yeah, totally.
And I think they'll edge Liverpool personally. So I think they are a dark horse in terms of the title race that many people aren't actually counting as a real contender.
Right. Yeah, I mean also just the void that Ndombele fills. We saw Eric Dyer slotting into like the 6 role at Spurs, and we've seen multiple attempts from Pochettino to really fill that gap. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is a quality signing.
Yeah,
I mean, they got him for, I would say, his market value. Like they didn't go, it wasn't a crazy price. I think he's well worth what they got him for. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to watch Tottenham and see how they do. But I think people are just underestimating them, not considering the title race, which is just flat out wrong.
All right, do you want to tell us a little bit about a team maybe you think in the mid-table that you think will take it up a notch this season?
Yeah, I think Leicester City always has that potential. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, they did lose Harry Maguire, which is a significant loss. But the permanent signing of Yuri Tielemans, I think, is huge. He's a great young midfielder. He's creative, kind of slots into that 8 role. And you still have Jamie Vardy. He'll put in the same goals he has been. Maybe this will be like.
And Tielemans is such a good passer of the ball. Like those balls in behind to Vardy, and now Jose Perez.
Yeah, the addition of Perez. Which I don't know if I would have personally paid $30 million for him, just because his numbers weren't like spectacular in the Premier League. But I mean, you'll get goals out of him for sure. And yeah, also I like Pereira on the right back. He was great last season. So let's see if he can continue firing crosses, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, when we say, Leicester being a dark horse, we're not saying for the title race. This is more just, I think they'll finish above where people are putting them. So I'd put them maybe 7, 8. I'd probably say 7. Mm-hmm. I think people are kind of putting them around like 10, 9. So it's not a huge difference, but, I think they'll be right behind Wolves this season. I think Wolves will do also pretty well.
How do you think the move of Maguire will affect them? Because obviously, I mean, Maguire has to be considered one of the best center backs in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So how do you think that will affect them? Because he was a mainstay in their defense last year and someone who made them a very solid defensive team for where they actually ended up finishing in the table.
Yeah, I mean, he is a significant, or he was a significant player for them. He definitely had he had that impact on the pitch that you want in a center back. So him leaving is kind of, I mean, only time will really tell to see how they'll be exposed at the back. You know, they don't have an amazing defense. And they never had really an amazing defense per se, but, you know, you lose a player like Maguire, £80 million to United, and you're not necessarily one of the, you know, top 6 clubs, then that's got to hurt because you're not going to, I mean, they didn't have time really to go out and buy someone right away.
Uh-huh.
So maybe they'll move for someone in the winter transfer season, but, who really knows? I think So, I mean, if they're not going to finish in 7th or 8th, then I think it's because Maguire's departure.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable to assume.
A team that I wouldn't necessarily call dark horse, but someone I saw moving up in my table was actually quite a bit was Bournemouth. And this may be surprising. I think they didn't play great in their first match, but they made some additions like Lloyd Kelly. They added some fullbacks. They strengthened their defense. And a lot of teams above them, in my opinion, dropped, like Crystal Palace, losing Bissaka and potentially Zaha later this year, will drop. I also saw Newcastle drop. And with Eddie Howe, I think it's a team that can look to improve. So moving somewhere from like lower part of the table around 15, 14, up to somewhere higher up, close to 11 or 10 maybe. Mm-hmm. But I would say a big dark horse for me, even though I would say they're underrated by many, and even though they got absolutely battered this past weekend, is West Ham. And West Ham, when I look at West Ham, they've made a bunch of very solid signings replacing Arnautovic, which impressed me. And I feel like, although I'm not sold on Pellegrini as a manager, especially of a team where he's not given a huge budget, like he had at City, I think he'll be good. Haller, though, great forward, will be a great replacement for Arnautovic. And then you have Fornals, who's a crafty young midfielder, who I think will, as we edge into the season, will continue to add more to West Ham's side. And I think this moves them up into that contention with Wolves, Leicester, Everton, really puts them in that group of teams now.
Group.
Yeah, and I know I sound like an absolute idiot saying that after they got battered 5-0 by City, but realistically, who hasn't been battered 5-0 by City?
Yeah.
So I don't think you should overreact based on that game. For people who watched the first 40 minutes of the game, or I wouldn't say 40, the first 30 minutes or so, West Ham was fairly competitive, and I liked the way they were playing. They were going at City. They had confidence moving forward with the ball. It was a little bit of execution and just being undermanned compared to that City team.
Yeah. No, I think West Ham also, they've gone out and done some good business this transfer window. And yeah, they always have the potential as a club to, you know, rise up the table a bit. So it'll be interesting. I really rate Fornals. I think I rate like every young Spanish midfielder practically, but I think he's a quality signing, £24 million. That's not, that's not really overpaying for him. I think that's a good price. So smart business this window. And we'll just see how it really, comes together, because everyone needs time to adapt. I mean, it's the first match week. Like Fergie said, everyone's gotten battered by City. I'd like to see West Ham push for an upper mid-table finish this year. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for us. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. Follow me on Instagram at the Fergie Time Podcast. Follow Zain on Instagram. His Instagram will be in the description. And also, let us know in the comments who you think is a potential dark horse or a team that will massively improve this season in the Premier League. Thank you, and take it easy. Peace.